Hey guys, this is Tara with Teaching on Lemon Lane, and this is your video walkthrough for the Plan a Thanksgiving project-based learning activity. This is one of my favorite activities, and I think you're going to love it. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So before you start, you need to decide if you will be doing this activity digitally or if you will be using the print version or my favorite by kind of combining both. So having things that the students can do by print and also digitally, because both kind of have their benefits. If you're looking for the print version, you simply need to click on this page and then see this button here. You're going to click on it, click on the link, and it's going to pull up the PDF. Right now it's view only, so in order for you to be able to kind of print and use it the way that you want to, go ahead and click this download button. When you click the download button, it's going to download it to your device. Let's go ahead and jump back in. If you're going to do the digital slides, let's go ahead and jump into the digital slides. Let's just kind of start going through it page by page. So first of all, you'll notice I've got template examples here. This is a great way to kind of show your students completed examples of what those digital pages can look like. This here is an example of when students would take a picture of their work and upload it into the picture placeholder, which I'm going to show you how to do. This is another fun activity that they can do digitally where they insert a Google search image into those picture placeholders, and then you can cover them up with our fun little things there. Let's go into our Thanksgiving layout. These are just some fun options that students can do. You can insert their student avatar. And if you haven't used this website yet, it's Pixton, and it's my favorite website to create avatars for your students. So make sure to check that out. That's a fun way to insert images into it. Another fun option would be to create an animated GIF. So you can see there's the picture and it's moving. This is a fun option as well, or students could simply just insert a color or a symbol to represent the guest there. But those are fun options. And if you'd like to learn how to do that, simply click on those tutorials, and those are really simple and straightforward. And if you have any questions, of course, let me know. This is the Tablescape inspiration. It's kind of where they create a vision board of what they would like their Thanksgiving dinner to look like. So those are good examples to have visually of what kind of the expectation is or what students are working towards. Let's go ahead and jump into the student slides. If you are deciding to use digital slides, you're going to need to make a student copy of the slides that you're going to assign. And a student copy is the slides that students are going to interact with. They're the slides that you want them to be able to see and edit. So first thing, let's go ahead and just go over that. So again, you wouldn't assign all of these slides to your students. This is your master copy. Keep a master copy of all of the slides. That's a great way to kind of refer back to it and just keep things safe. When you're making a student copy, what you're going to do is you need to go through and select the slides that you want your students to be able to see and interact with. So maybe you do decide to include some of these completed examples, or maybe you just use that to show them. But let's say that we're going to select our student slides. I've already gone through all the slides. I know what I'm going to do. Really quickly, let me just show you how to do that. So we would highlight a slide, and to do that, I single click on it in this preview tab over here. So I single click and it pulls it up. And then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to see what else I want to include. I want to include this tech skill page. So what you're going to do is you're going to use either Command or Control, depending on it might even be Shift if you're using Windows. I'm using a Mac, so as I select these different slides and I want them to stay all selected instead of just doing individual, see how those both are selected? So I hold down my Command button, and again, I'm using a Mac. It may be Shift or Control if you're on Windows. But then I click on the slides that I want to be included for the students to be able to interact with. So I'm working on the student copy of the slides. What you're going to run into is as you get to, say, the grocery store option, there are 3 different versions of your grocery store ads. So again, I'm going through, I'm holding down the key, I'm single clicking on the slides that I want to be included. With the recipes, you're going to need all 3 of those. So we get to the grocery store, and I'm going to go with the most complicated version, which is grocery store number 1. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to finish clicking on those. And we're just going to pretend then I would skip the other grocery store options because you only need one grocery store option. And I would continue to select the slides that I want the students to have a copy of. After I'm done selecting all of the slides that I want students to have a copy of digitally, I'm going to go up here to File, and I just let go of the Command key. And then I'm able to click up here on my toolbox without unselecting all of those. And then I would come up here to make a copy, and then you're going to click selected slides, and that's going to make a copy of all the slides that you just selected. So I'll show you what that looks like. Make a copy, selected slides, and then you're going to name it. So Digital Thanksgiving Project-Based Learning, and then I like to add something like student copy so that I know which the difference between the two. And that's the slides that I'm going to assign to the students, say in Google Classroom or just through a link. So as you do that, make sure when you do create the student copies that you go up to the share option and that you make sure that edits are allowed. So that's how you make a student copy. Let's go back up to the slides and just continue to kind of walk through all of this. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the tech skills page. I've added this page just to make sure that the skills that are needed to complete this activity, that you do that beforehand with students. So any questions that may arise, you're kind of able to address them before jumping in. We've got zoom in, zoom out. As you zoom out, I'm going to zoom out one more time. Here's the items that the students are going to be using. So they may be asked to click and drag the lemon, and then they need to duplicate it. A great thing that I've also included is the tech skills video. Now, technically, I did this video for my vision board activity, but it's the same skills. So this will give students or you a step-by-step guide kind of walking through how to complete those tech skills. And then when students are done with that tech skill page, it should look similar to this. So that's a great way to kind of go through those tech skills that they're going to need. Starting out, we start with our planner. Students can type their name there. And then I kind of divide the pages with this little separator to kind of make it easy to find, as well as give you a brief little rundown of what you're going to be doing. So let's jump into our invitations. And remember, for each of these pages, there is a printable counterpart that you can access in that PDF file that I showed you where to click. So first thing students start with is they need to think of 4 to 10 people that will attend your dinner. And then they need to calculate the number of servings, kind of estimate how much each of those people will need. If it's an adult, you typically need 2 to 3 servings to plan on. If it's a child, you typically just need 1 serving. So for every adult, how many servings of each dish will they likely have? And then you're going to come up with your total number of servings. And your students are going to use that as they kind of go through the recipes and plan out their grocery list. Next thing we head to is the copy shop. And this is a lot of fun. Students can design their menu by clicking and dragging, or single clicking and dragging, and you can make it bigger. Students are going to design their menu, and they make sure that they include these different things. They're going to need to know how to insert a toolbox, and they can change the font. And again, this is something that's gone over in that tech skill page. So make sure that that is covered before you assign the digital assignment to the students. The next option after they design it is they head to the copy shop, and they need to decide how many invitations they're going to be printing. And here's your cost per, if they're doing it on black and white, or if they're doing a color, on the white cost there. And so here we would insert our picture. This is called a picture placeholder, and this makes things really easy. So what students will do anytime they see this pattern, they know that it's a picture placeholder. So they single click on it, and then you'll notice replace image pops up here. From there, you click replace image. And then if it's a picture of their work, they can either use their camera, or they can take a picture and then send it to their device and upload it from their computer. And once you do that, you just click on the file and it'll automatically insert that image into that picture placeholder. Okay, let's keep going. Now we go to the meal planner. So this is a lot of fun. From the meal planner, students need to think of 6 different items or dishes that they want included with their Thanksgiving dinner. And then we start our shopping list on this page here. So to decide what they're going to be using, they obviously could use their own recipes, which I've included an option here where they can kind of simplify that favorite recipe from Thanksgiving that they use. Try and keep your ingredients 9 ingredients or less, or else it gets a little bit complicated when you go to adjusting those recipes. But what you'll notice here is that I've included recipe cards that students can pick from. And again, they're going to be picking 6 different dishes. And the fun part about these recipe cards is not only is this kind of reading and analyzing informational text, but these are also real recipes. So if students, come across one or they're really excited about one, you can actually take them home. And I've made sure that they're really simple, especially with measurements, so that students can try them out for themselves. And it will also work out really well as nice, friendly numbers as we go and adjust the recipes. So lots of fun to look through those and pick through 6 different items. Again, with the picture placeholder image right here, remember that students can single click on it and then they can replace image. And then let's say that they're just looking for a cherry pie. And so they would come up here and they would search the web and they can type in cherry pie, or they could even take a picture of their actual dish for Thanksgiving. I find the image that I like, I double click, and it's automatically going to insert it in there for me. The other thing to be aware of as you look at these recipe cards is students need to notice how many servings each one of these recipes makes. Because again, remember, they've calculated how many servings total they're going to need per dish when we were doing our Thanksgiving prep right here. And so they need to keep that in mind as they create their shopping list. So let's look at the asparagus, for example. So our roasted asparagus, one bunch of trimmed asparagus only makes 4 servings. And let's say that they need 8 servings. So students know that they need to get 2 bunches of asparagus when they go to the grocery store. So again, keep in mind your serving size as students kind of look at these recipes as well. Let's go on to the menu. So again, students have already decided their 6 dishes, but now we're going to create a menu that they can put on the plate during their Thanksgiving dinner. This is a great place for kind of sensory description or figurative language. I've included a food bank with words that are typically used to kind of describe food. But again, they're going to want to kind of create a description and a title that their guests will be excited to enjoy. And remember, I've included an example of what a completed picture could look like of this. Again, you have this picture placeholder. So let's say that turkey, and they've come up with a beautiful, butter brined turkey breast. And so we want to insert an image. So because this is a picture placeholder, we can either put our own picture in it or we can use Google search. So we come up here. First, we single click on the picture placeholder, single click replace image, and then I'm going to search the web. So I click search the web, and then I'm going to search Thanksgiving turkey. Now, this is something to be aware of. Remember, the more specific that their terms are, the better results they're going to have using the Google image search. So let's say that I just searched turkey. If I just search turkey, I'm going to get a picture of a turkey. And again, that's not necessarily the image that I want. So I want a Thanksgiving turkey. And here's some better options. I look through, I click on the one that I like the best, I double click, and it automatically inserts that image into that picture placeholder for me. So a lot of fun with the menu card here. And again, yes, there is a printable version of this activity as well. Okay, let's go to the What's for Dinner page. Here again, they simply just insert a picture and then they can cover it with our little dome. And the fun thing about this is you could, have the class present in groups and students can take turns revealing what their 6 Thanksgiving items for their menu will be. And maybe you can have them discuss why their 6 is best. We could think about persuasive or argumentative kind of statements or comments, but this is just a fun way to kind of make it a little bit more interactive if you choose to use this card. Again, you can kind of pick and choose which activities you're going to be using, but that's kind of a fun one. Let's go to the recipe adjust. So now what we're going to do is students have picked their 6 different menu items. So we have menu item 1, menu item 2, menu item 3, menu item 4. And again, you'll notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I give you space for 9 ingredients. If students are inserting their own recipes, make sure that they limit it to 9 ingredients. So let's go to menu item 1. Students would simply type in the dish that they're serving here. And then from here, they type in the original amounts from the recipe. And then they need to take into account how many servings that one recipe will make and how many times they need to multiply that recipe in order to get the serving amount that they need. So maybe they're going to multiply each ingredient by 3. And so they would multiply it by 3, and then they're going to put their adjusted recipe here. So maybe they're 2 timesing it. Maybe they only need half of it. But you're going to adjust your recipe there. And then notice at the bottom, say by chance that maybe they come up with their recipe and when they adjust it, they have 24 teaspoons. Well, instead of doing 24 teaspoons, it would be much easier to simplify it into an easier measurement, which would be a half a cup. So take into consideration the measurement conversions here. And also point out that if we're not multiplying, students can simply use repeated addition to adjust that recipe as well. So they're going to do that for 6 each one of their dishes. And that's what that page looks like. Now let's go to the grocery store. I love this section. So I've included 3 differentiated grocery ads for you. So the first one, our level 1, is kind of your level 1. It's the most simple kind of layout as far as numbers and coupon go. So you'll notice we're using whole numbers, full dollar amounts, except for kind of our cents here. So this is a great option if you're looking for kind of a more simplified approach. I've also included these highlighter squares that students can kind of keep track of what they've bought already. One of the things that I also list out is when they're writing out their shopping list, make sure that they only list one ingredient once. So maybe we need butter for 3 different recipes. They need to take into consideration that you're only going to list butter once and combine that amount for each recipe. So that's what they'll be doing with that shopping list. So again, here's our first option. Our second grocery store option is kind of your level 2. Again, we've got a fun coupon here. And again, these are still friendly numbers, but we're kind of doing nice increments with the cents here. So that's your level 2. And then your level 3 is your most difficult. However, it is also your most realistic. And you'll notice that the coupon is different as well. If you want to switch out the coupon, I've made this to where this is an image. So maybe you want students to be doing, the more difficult, more realistic numbers. But the coupon with doing the 20% off seems a little bit out of their range. You can simply just delete that coupon, go grab a coupon from the other page. Let me click on it real fast. Select that coupon, Command copy, go back to your page, Command V, and you've just switched out kind of a more friendly coupon for your students to use. So that is an option as well. If you want to use actual grocery ads, that is also an option. So let's go ahead and look at that. So on every grocery slide, I've included these buttons. So if you're looking to use real grocery ads, students can simply click on the button. A link will pop up. And I've included PDFs of actual grocery ads that the students can shop through. Now, because these are grocery ads, there's a very high likelihood that they are not going to have every single ingredient that students need. So they may have to use all 4 of the grocery ads, or they may even have to kind of go and search out the prices on an actual kind of grocery store website. They could even, if you want it to be not so math hands-on, they could do the shopping at, say, smiths.com or walmart.com grocery. And then obviously all of the calculations will be automated, but they're still getting kind of a good hands-on practice of kind of everything that goes into preparing a meal. So I have 4 different ads that you can pick from or that students can shop through. And my hope is that it will cover the majority of the ingredients. But again, if you're using the real grocery ad, there may be some ingredients that students will either have to use my grocery ads for or look them up individually. But a lot of fun, a lot of great options with our grocery store. Okay, let's jump into the price sheet. Students will be using this price sheet from the beginning. And here's where I think that a printable option, where you're kind of doing a hybrid of both the digital activities and the printable activities, would come into play. This would be a great option. So there's a printable version of the price sheet, and it allows students to, just like this one here, you take the item, you write out the cost per unit, how many do you need, and then the total item cost. So students will go through, and the digital option is great as well. The printable just allows them to kind of have everything nice and clean and do it by hand, which is, of course, great practice. So again, the price sheet, this is just where they're keeping track of all the costs that they've used. And that includes designing their menu and having it printed. So students will be using this price sheet from the very beginning of the activity. So they keep track of all of their costs. If by chance you need more, my suggestion, I don't think that you should, but if you do, you would simply just duplicate the slide. And the numbers will be off because I've flattened them, but that gives you another column to kind of tally and everything. And then what they will do is they'll go to this last sheet of the price page, and we will add our totals. So here's my price sheet total 1. Notice you start from the bottom. 2, 3, 4, and 5 if you had to go into that many price sheets. If you didn't use that many price sheets, you just keep those blank. You add up the total, and here's the total cost here. I've also included the sales tax challenge, which students can kind of figure out how much sales tax will be on top of that, and then you get your grand total here. If you don't want to do sales tax, I've made this an image so you can simply just delete that. But again, it's kind of a fun challenge that can be taken into consideration as well. Also, with the price sheets, I've included estimated cost. I think it's fun for students to kind of round their numbers first and then see how close they can get if they were doing a budget, because a lot of times when we do a budget, we're estimating. And so you can have them estimate their cost by rounding and then getting kind of their estimated cost here, come up with their total estimated cost, and then compare the two and see how close they were. You can have them subtract the total and kind of what the difference was, or you can just have them do one or the other. But again, I've included this as well. Let's go into the logistics page. The logistics page is going to kind of blow their mind, and you're going to have to kind of prep them a little bit that they're going to need to get gritty, that it's going to be a lot of kind of thinking, but that they can do it. So let's jump into the logistic page. So the logistic page is where they have to figure out how are they going to have 6 different meals all ready to go at the same temperature, at the same time, when they only most likely will be working with one oven and one microwave. So again, the tip that I use is that a lot of times people will make the dish ahead of time, or they will fully cook it, or they will at least prep it, and then everything goes into the oven at the same time. So these are the things that they are thinking through. So of course we have our menu item 1. Here's kind of their notes that they came up with that they need to remember. Will they anticipate leftovers based on the serving size? How many serving size should this dish make? And how long is our cooking time? They will also put the day, because a lot of times, is this the day before? Is this 2 days before? Or is this on Thanksgiving? When will they start it? Will it be in the morning or in the afternoon? And they use the clock hands, which they just click and drag. And then to rotate, you use this circle right here. So we can rotate it and move it towards the center to kind of show our time as to when we will be starting the dish. If you're nervous about how your students kind of use the digital clock hands, this might be a good option to kind of, if we're doing a hybrid, this might make a better printable option. Everything works really nicely, and I've spread it out so that there's a lot of room. But again, if you have the flexibility to do both a digital and a printable version of this activity, this might make a great option as a printable approach. So again, this is a lot of fun. This is a lot of thinking kind of through the details. As they think through the details, they're going to be coming up with a game plan in their head. And this page is where they can actually put that game plan on paper. So step 1, I'm starting on Sunday and I'm making this. And then come Thanksgiving Day, I'm putting it in the oven at this time, at this temperature with all of these dishes. So they're going to actually write out a game plan. This is an awesome exercise for sequential writing. So using transitional words, making sure it's step by step. So informational writing, this is a great practice and great approach to kind of put that game plan to paper. Next are just questions that will help them kind of guide them along. This question page is just listing out kind of questions that will help them, think of things that they need to keep in mind as they are going through the logistics. For example, are they making a turkey or a ham? Oftentimes when they buy those are frozen, and students need to take into account how long, how many hours is going to take for that to simply just thaw out before they can start the prep and, or cooking it. So just some questions to kind of prompt them along and to think through as they're going through their logistics. Okay, let's jump into Tablescape. So the Tablescape, so this is kind of our Thanksgiving layout. So consider these your place cards, and of course they can also insert that image or avatar here as well. This is a really fun page. I like to call this kind of like their Thanksgiving vision board. And again, I've included a completed one of these to kind of give you an idea. If you do the printable version of this, allow students to cut pictures out of magazines, or maybe they have little fabric scraps that they could glue to this, or little kind of elements to kind of add in here. This can be a really fun page for students as well. Let's go ahead and jump into, last but not least, reflection. So students will go through and they will kind of go through these questions, reflecting, what did they learn? These questions are editable, so you can go in and edit them, as well as my rating themselves on a scale of 1 to 5. You can go in and change that as well, but students will simply double click and then they can type in their number there. This is a page that I've included for you if you are trying to assess specific skills. You can type that skill here, and then students can rate themselves using the little highlight square here. If you want them to insert a picture of their work, we simply use the picture placeholder there. With, again, you would click on it, then replace image, and then upload. Let's jump into the next one. Ooh, I love this one. This is the most important part of this activity in my opinion. So I love this quote: feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. So my hope is that when students complete this activity is that they are overwhelmed with how much goes into Thanksgiving, as well as overwhelmed with gratitude for those that they have experienced, Thanksgiving with, and those that have prepared it for them, and that they will then, of course, show that appreciation. This is a simple printable option that you can print, and then they will write in the lines. Or here's the digital option. You can have them type their digital thank you and then print it. To do that, you simply would go up here to File and Print, which is not shown because my thing's in the way. So File, Print, and then you would select the page that you want them to print. And then, of course, they would hand that to that person that they are showing their gratitude towards. I've also included, if there's a chance that they've never participated in a Thanksgiving dinner, they now have all the tools to do one themselves, or with their family, or with their guardians or loved ones. And they can even use those actual recipe cards to do so. So that's something that is encouraged as well. And even if they're not expressing gratitude to someone because, they've participated in a Thanksgiving, typically there's someone that they can be grateful for. And oftentimes that might even be you, the teacher. So encourage them to look for someone that they can express gratitude towards, and then to kind of write that out and express that. What I've also included is an extension for kind of your fast finishers, or it's just kind of another fun way to kind of dive into this material. So I've already got some fun prompts that they can do. They can go back and look at the recipe cards and determine which one would cost the most to make, which would cost the least to make. Kind of if they did coupons, if they paid with a certain amount of money, what would they get back in change? Can they show that in cents as well? So a lot of fun extension activities here, even using alliteration with the menu. Again, that menu page is a great place to practice figurative language, and alliteration is a really easy one to apply there. So here is where they would type their answers. And last but not least, to express my gratitude towards you, I've included two of my favorite Thanksgiving freebies. So we've got this fun Grateful Through the Alphabet option, which you can simply just print, and then students write in something for every letter to kind of show what they are grateful for. There's a fun detailed coloring page that they can do as well. And if you haven't, make sure that you click on this form You're already getting the Grateful through the alphabet, but I also have 2 other freebies that I think you will love. And one is the crossword puzzle, and the other is the tangram puzzle, which has to do with the first Thanksgiving, which is a lot of fun. So if you don't have those, make sure to click up there and sign up for the emails, and it'll be sent straight to your email. So a lot of fun freebies there. But that's everything. If you have any questions, please let me know. This is such a great activity, and I'm so excited to hear what you think about it. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.